Very good day, students. In this lecture, we will be talking about the evolution in the glomerular stages and the evolution of the tubular capillary network. So, in this particular part, I'll be taking two major concepts in the subtopic of the kidney structure, or you can say the evolution in the kidney or the excretory system. So first of all, the first thing is the evolution of the glomerulus or the formation of the glomerular stages in the evolution of the kidney. So in the previous lecture, we had talked about the formation of the, you can say, ancient kind of a renal tubule. So I think that was very clear to you that it was originating from the coelom of the primitive animals. So that coelom is also called as the splanchnocoel. So there was a direct connection of the splanchnocoel with the renal tubule, first of all. So after that particular stage, so we had the formation of the glomerulus. So in the previous lectures, I have given you the idea that how the glomerulus has evolved with the time or in the evolution. So the first glomerular stage which was formed was the external glomerulus. So if we go for the evolutionary phase in the case of glomeruli, so there can be four distinct kind of phases. The first phase can be said as to be the aglomerular stage. So this is the first stage. And second can be the formation of the glomeruli, but here the glomeruli are external in position. So they are not the internal glomeruli as we have discussed in the previous section. So then the third stage came, and it was a primitive kind of stage in which the glomerulars were internal in position. So that was the, you can say, primitive internal glomerular stage. And the fourth stage, which was formed after these stages, so that was the advanced internal glomerular stage. So at that time, the peritoneal funnel of the renal tubule was totally lost, and there was no connection of the renal tubule with the splanchnocoel or the coelom of the body of the animal. So these are the four major, you can say, the categories or the stages of the formation of the glomerulus. So I would try to give you a concept with giving you some of the diagrams that how this glomerulus arises and what are the stages which are coming in the evolution of the glomerulus. So students, now we are starting with the first part. It is the evolution of the glomerulus for the formation of the typical nephron in the kidney of vertebrates. Now students, this particular diagram is giving you the stages in the evolution of the glomerulus. So at last we have got the external, you can say, the nephric tubules, which have got no relation with the splanchnocoel of the animal. Now if I take the very first case into account, if you see this particular stage, this stage is of protochordate, the very first stage. Now here you can very well see, now here you have the holonephric duct. So this duct is actually the longitudinal canal which is making up this particular duct. And here you have the uriniferous tubule, which we have discussed in the previous lecture. Now the main thing is that it has got a direct relationship with the coelom, and this is the splanchnocoel. So this is the coelom of the animal present in the body of that particular, you can say, a protochordate. So this is a case in the protochordates. And here there is a direct relationship of the renal tubules with the coelom, and it is with the nephrostome. So here we have the nephrostome. And this stage is considered to be as the aglomerular stage. So there are no glomeruli formed in any case. And here the uriniferous tubules, they drain directly into the nephrocele. So if you take the next stage, which is the actual glomerular stage, here you can very well see that these uriniferous tubules, they are draining into the nephrocele. So this is the nephrocele, which is opening out into the main splanchnosele or the coelom of the animal. So again, there is a direct relationship of the nephrocele with the splanchnosele. Now, if we go further out of this aglomerular stage, what happened that we had the formation of the glomeruli. So here you can very well see we have a glomerulus formed over here. Now, this is the dorsal, you can say, blood vessel. So this is a dorsal aorta from which the blood is coming towards the glomerulus, and that will be forming the renal artery. And this is the renal vein. So that is going for, you can say, the particular cardinal veins. So they are taking back the blood. So here, the second stage it arises, which is the external glomerulus stage. So this is external glomerulus. Here it is not present in the Bowman's capsule, but it is external to the nephrocele. Now here, the glomerulus is in the contact with the nephrocele over here, that is opening into the splanchnosele. So that is, you can say, a transition stage in the formation or in the evolution of the glomerulus. So this is the second stage in which we have the external glomerulars. Now, the renal artery, it is taking the blood to the glomerulus. The glomerulus, it is draining into the nephrocele, and nephrocele, it is opening into the, you can say, the renal tubule, and again it is going for the holonephric duct. So what will be coming into the nephrocele, if I take the nephrocele into account, only the nephrocele, the things can be collected from the coelom, from the splanchnosele. They can be taken from the renal blood. They are taken into the renal, you can say, the capillary. This is the renal tubule, and those things will be going into the holonephric duct. So those will be excreted out. So this stage is called as the external glomerulus stage. Now students, if we go further, we have this stage. So this is the formation of the internal glomeruli. So here you can very well see that the glomerulus is present in the Bowman's capsule. And this Bowman's capsule, it has been formed, it is transformed from the walls of the nephrocele. So this is a very, very important thing to note, that the walls of the nephrocele, they invaginate and they are forming the Bowman's capsule, in which the glomerulus enters, and that forms the internal glomerular stage. But students, this is another thing to note, that in this stage, this is again a transition state, and here the glomerulus is internal in position, but still the peritoneal funnel is present. So there is a connection of the nephrocele with the splanchnosele. which is in the center, or the coelom. So we have the peritoneal funnel present still now, as we have the internal glomerulus present. So both the things are present over here. So this is again a transition kind of a state in the formation of the glomerulus. If we go further, if we go beyond this particular stage, we have the last stage. Now here we have the total advanced kind of internal glomerular stage. Here you can very well see that the glomeruli, they are internal. They are present in the Bowman's capsule, which is formed from the walls of the nephrocele. They have a particular tubule, and they have a holonephric duct. So this is the actual duct which is draining all the things out. So they are taking the renal artery, they are giving off the vein which is going for the cardinal vein. And students, there is a very important thing, that there is no connection of the Bowman's capsule with the splanchnocoele of the animal. So this is the most important thing. So here the glomerular are the internal ones. There is no peritoneal funnel as such. If you recall the primitive renal tubule, which I have shown you in the previous lecture, that was having a peritoneal funnel. And that peritoneal funnel, which was present over here, is absent in the fourth stage. So in this particular stage, we don't have any kind of connection or the peritoneal funnel which is present in between the nephrocele or the Bowman's capsule and the splanchnocoele over here. So students, that was the course of the evolution in the formation of the internal glomeruli in the vertebrates. So these stages, they have taken hundreds and hundreds of years to happen. And in these times, the animals, they have developed themselves according to the environmental conditions. That's why these kinds of modifications or evolutions, they have taken place. So students, that was the very first part. It was the evolution of the glomerulus. And if I take the second part, you can take these parts in the origin of the kidney. So if you have a question on the origin of kidney, you may give the aspects of the first lecture, and you may give these concepts also in this particular question. If you have a big question in your examination, then you can give these two parts also along with the previous lecture. Now students, we are discussing the second part of this lecture, and this is the evolution in the tubular capillary networks. So what we had in the very last, that we had a glomerulus which was totally internal, and that was not having any kind of connection with the splanchnocoele. So we are starting here with that particular Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus. So that is collectively called as a Malfigian body. So this kind of Malfigian body, it is having two major connections. So we have to first of all go into the very first diagram of this slide. Now if I go into the very first diagram, you can see the dorsal aorta, which is giving a renal artery to the glomerulus. And you are seeing here, this is a systemic vein. So this is the most important part over here. So this is a systemic vein which is present over here. And these are 2 in number. And they run longitudinally throughout the body of the animal in the middle section of the body. Now they are taking the, you can say, the uh, after the clearance, after the excretion process, they are taking the blood back towards the systemic vein. So these are the renal veins. So here I am showing you the renal vein in blue color. Now these are the two main things which are forming the tubular capillary network. And second main important thing, that these are the circulatory circuits of the nephron. Now second thing which is very, very important is the uriniferous tubule. So this tubule is, if you see all the four diagrams, it is increasing in size and it is being elongated. And this elongation, it owes to the concentration of the urine, or you can say for making a concentrated kind of a urine, or more water balance, or you can say osmoregulation. So I'll be giving you some concepts on the length of the uriniferous tubule and on the size of the glomerulus on the basis of the environment in which the animals are living. So here I am just giving you an idea that these uriniferous tubules, they are elongating in size, they are increasing in size. Now students, if you take a quick look on the diagram B, which is present below it, you can see the presence of the renal portal vein over here. So this is a development of the renal portal veins. So students, here we have the renal portal veins. They have been developed over here in the center of the body, and they are above the level of the cardinal veins. So if we see the particular, you can say the position of the cardinal veins, they are present below the renal portal veins. So as the renal portal vein is taking blood from the, you can say the renal system or the kidney system or from the nephric level. So these are very, very important in this particular stage. So here you can very well see that there is an afferent renal vein formed over here. So this is an extra, you can say, vein formed to the renal artery. And this is making a capillary network which is called as a tubular capillary network over the uriniferous tubule, and now we take it as the vasa recta of the nephron. So this is the very preliminary stage in the formation of the tubular capillary network, and the input to this particular network is from the renal portal vein, which is present below the dorsal aorta. Now, if we see the drainage of the tubular capillary network, it has formed this particular anastomosis kind of a thing to the renal vein. Now here, this is the renal vein which is coming out of the glomerulus, and it is going towards the posterior cardinal vein. And this particular connection which is formed, it is draining out the blood into the cardinal vein. So this particular connection will give a very important, significant, you can say, evolutionary trend in the formation of the tubular capillary network. So the blood is coming from this side and it is going out from this side to the cardinal vein. So that becomes a secondary kind of circulation inside this particular uriniferous tubule, you can say. Now if we go for the third stage, this stage is present in the ectoderms or ectotherms. Now, in this particular stage, what happened that there is the formation of another anastomosis for this capillary network, and that is present over here. Now, this anastomosis is very, very important, as this is taking the blood of the efferent renal vein into the tubular capillary network, and the outpour or the outtake of this tubular capillary network is still persisting in these ectotherms. So, in the cold-blooded animals, there is the presence of the anastomosis over here, and still this particular section is present in these animals. So, that was another evolutionary trend that was seen in the formation of the tubular capillary networks. If we go for the final or the last stage in the endotherms, what has happened now? Now, just look at this particular stage. There is no efferent renal vein present. Now, this is the most important thing. There is no connection in between the, you can say, the renal portal vein and the tubular capillary network. So, I have taken a red color for this. So, this connection has been lost, and the connection which was present over here, this connection has also been lost over here. So, what we have, that the blood will flow from the efferent renal vein, and it will go into the anastomosis. It will run through the tubular capillary network. It will go out from this particular tube which was developed in this particular region, and it will go into the cardinal vein, the posterior cardinal vein. So, here two main you can say connections, they have been lost. So, you can very well see over here in the fourth diagram. So, there is no connection in between the renal portal vein and the tubular capillary network, and there is no connection in between the anastomosis and the posterior cardinal vein. So, this is the evolution in the formation of the tubular capillary networks in the, you can say, the evolution of the nephrons in the kidneys. So, students, that was a part of the lecture which was on the evolution of the glomerulus and the tubular capillary network. And now in the coming part of the lecture, I'll be telling you what is the, you can say, the connection, or you can say what is the impact of the size of the uriniferous tubules and the size of the glomerulus with the environmental conditions of the animals.